cooking. Nice cold weather we're in, right? I think we're at 1 below or something like that today. But anyway, we're going to have a hot spell. Next week we're going to be in the 30s, so that's really good. I am going to make a stew today. But instead of using just black peppercorns, I am going to give it spice. I'm going to use red peppercorns with it. Now, the red peppercorns, as soon as you put them in your mouth, they're hot. The greens, they creep up on you, okay? The pink are sweet. But I figured I want to give a bite to this, so this is what we're going to do. I'm putting about a teaspoon of those in, and probably 2 teaspoons of the black pepper. So this will pick the heat up, but not so bad it'll scorch my throat. That should be enough. And we're going to cut our stew beef up instead of having it bought in the store. We're going to do it that way. I'm going to be warning all of you that I'm going to be doing a cook-along. It'll probably be simple biscuits to get people started, to show them the ratios, and we'll be making scones also, so people who make scones and don't know about biscuits, you could see how the ratio will be different. But I am going to make scones with the chili lime cranberries. I just have to try it to see how it's going to come out. So if you want to know what I'm doing, I'm pounding the red peppercorns with the black. And you can grind this as small, just like a regular grinder. And this is what women used. These are stone, by the way. They're very heavy. They have wooden ones. And mortar and pestles, they have little ones that pharmacists use. Now, I'm going to be adding my salt to this. Good morning. You're welcome. I'm just going to mix them together. It's easier than doing them separate. Okay. I'm going to be using my Dutch oven today. We're also going to be using a lot of different stocks. We're going to be using bone broth, vegetable stock, and I have a little bit of chicken stock left over here, so why not? And if you want to know if my oil blend is good morning, everyone. If the oil blend that I make is good, took it out of the refrigerator, as you can see. That's good oil that I use, that combination. Yeah, do I want this one? Let me see how long this one is. Yeah, I'll use this one this time. Okay, just deciding which knife I wanted to use. All right, what I have here is a beef chuck, bottom chuck roast. All right, now it was expensive, but right now, if you want any big cuts of meat, you can get them by February 1st. The meat cuts are going to get smaller because the butcher, you have to wait for a new set of meats to come through, as they say, because they harvest in the autumn. I should know because we had a slaughterhouse just out of town, so I knew my mother could always get good sales in the autumn. This is why you see me use these big cuts, and as we get further into summer and stuff, it's less and less. You gonna tell me this thing is still frozen? You've been sitting all night long. Well, it's frozen still. I took it out early yesterday, and that's just how cold it is. Well, I'm going to have to cook it anyway. I can't wait. So we're just going to deal with it. I can leave these meats out 2 days and they're still frozen, no matter what I do. Oh, they came out great. We enjoyed it very much. Nobody could wait for supper. They said no. As they were getting up, they said, no, Mommy, I'm going to eat this before I go. And I said, but. They said, no, we're having it. That's it. And then coffee afterwards. And I served it with milk. So a lot of you would say, yep. It comes out really, really nice. All right. We can decide when you have these roast and you pick them up like this, you see the marbling in them? That's what you need that keeps your meat tender. If there's no marbling, your meat is going to be more tough. That's why when you have a filet mignon or a standing rib roast, there's not a lot of marbling in it. So you have to be very careful that you only cook it to a point and then it works. Oh, we're having stew today, and I'm going to be making cornbread. But my cornbread's going to have to sit in the oven a little longer. Okay, let's see. Since you have this at an angle, we'll cut this at an angle. And this way you can decide the kind of chunks that you want. I know when I put the salt on it, it'll start defrosting faster. This is the only problem I have in the winter. I don't care. I cannot get meat defrosted that easily. At least I understand why butchers do it while it's frozen. It is easier to handle. I want bigger pieces, so I'm going to cut mine a little bigger than normal. But I'm not worried about the fat. See, if your stewed beef is really, really lean, you're going to have a problem with it. We used to get our meat before. I remember when they changed it. We could get it with a lot of marbling, and then they said, no, it's causing heart attacks. They were getting people away from using lard and stuff, so they went to the cattle to go more lean. And then they noticed that the heart problems weren't just diminishing, and now they found out that the nutrients that you find in lard and fat is what your body needs. I said, of course, if it was in the body, of course it's got to have nutrients, idiots. You know, this is how I think. Well, Al, I don't know where you're at, but it's early morning here. Oh, Hannah, happy birthday. May you have a beautiful day. See, frozen. Don't worry, when I get the salt and pepper on it and cook it, it won't be. It's not completely frozen, it's just some parts are frozen. Okay, the meat is done. We're done cutting it up. Now remember, I add red peppercorns to these black ones. Yeah, it's 5:26 right now, John. But I wanted to have some vinegar. I'm having apple cider vinegar and water every morning because it'll keep me alkaline, so I won't get sick this weather. You're going to be prone to being sick, and I don't want to get sick. I was already sick for a couple of days, so I will have that probably every morning until spring. And why do I use apple cider? Because apple cider is the only one that can alkaline your body to where you can't get sick. And that's why I'm doing it. Okay. Now, you can sit there and flour this if you wish, or you don't have to. I think I'm going to. And I'm going to put... I'm going to use some root vegetables. I might use some greens as well. I know I'm going to put a whole grain in it to cook as well. So this stew is sort of, let's play around and see what we come up with. Is that 4:35? I had to be in the evening in the United Kingdom. But good morning. I should say good morning to all of you. Christ, John, Tap Boy, good morning, everybody. Other people have wrote on. When you guys start doing it, I can't read your names fast enough. I try. I'm not real quick, it seems. I'm going to use my Dutch oven on this one today. I have to get the flour. We're going to have to sift this flour again. I'm just going to sift it on top of it. As cold as it is, it reminds me of how cold it was. I know they had, because I know in Texas, most homes only have one heater and it's in the living room. They never have them anywhere else. Oh, yeah. We're all in different time zones. Hi, Cindy. Good morning to everybody. Ava, John, trying to get all of you. Let me get some oil in this because you cannot sit there. I hope he didn't ruin this. I'm going to have to scrub it myself. I know that. About 2 tablespoons of oil I've put into my pot. I'll get you over here in a minute. Okay, let's get you over here. Isn't that nice the way you can flip? My son gets a hold of this thing and it doesn't hold. And I get really angry about it. With the Dutch oven, they say you have to put oil on it before you heat it up. Where did he put it? go up here. This we'll put it back here. Just making room in my tiny little area. This oil is my all blend. It's 4 cups of extra virgin olive oil. It's also a cup of safflower, a cup of sunflower, and a cup of peanut oil, and I mix it all together. Then I put 400 international units of a vitamin E, D-alpha catopherol. Make sure it's spelled with an I because it's a natural one, and that's what I use. And I make a half a gallon at a shot and use it. Daniel really burnt this. Shoot. I'm going to have to try to clean this up. So we're going to wait for this to get hot. Good morning, Robin, Rock, and yeah, good morning. Mrs. Mac, hi, and good morning, everybody. So let's see. I have a question for all of you. What do you have for breakfast? Since I have all crazy kinds of things, what kind of things do you like to have for breakfast? Thank you for the flower, Rock. That's very kind of you. And I love flowers. My husband came in with flowers all the time because he knew how much I loved them, especially when I went to a botanical gardens and was cutting all the flowers. We could have ended up in jail. You just have eggs, that's all, Hannah? Yeah, Hannah. I said it right. Hot dogs and sauerkraut? Grits, 2 eggs baked and mixed together in a bowl. Okay, Robin. Those are different. I would never have thought of having a Frankfurter. Yesterday morning, I had a mushroom scone and a cup of coffee because I wasn't real hungry. I needed something to carry me. So I had that. Okay, we're just waiting for this to get... Look, when I can do this, you know this is not hot yet. We're still waiting for this thing. Oh, anything with potatoes? Okay, so you like hash browns? Bat? I am doing very well, James. Okay, that sounds like somebody I saw in a restaurant. Good morning, Trap. Bat, yep. Hannah, yes, go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Okay? And have a wonderful day when you wake up. It's getting there slowly. I'm leaving my hands there so you know we're waiting for this to get hot. Okay. No, I like, sometimes I like to have, I buy health food crackers. Tris Cut has some that don't have any preservatives in them. I like that. I like to make a sardine spread sometimes. If my sons are not home, I will steal a steak for breakfast. I like to have poached eggs sometimes. I'll have sweetbread sometimes. I will have hot cereals. I have cold cereals. I do have eggs. Sometimes scrambled. Sometimes I'll have a sandwich in the morning. Just depends. Sometimes lox and bagels. Just depends upon what I feel like. Carol, well, no, some people, I guess, like the smell. Well, we're going to have a cook-along back, and we're going to start off simple. So if you want to join us on this cook-along, I'm definitely going to make it in the afternoon, so I seem to hit more people in the afternoon, because if I hit early afternoon, that would mean morning in California. Shoot, if I do it at night, we'd be asleep over here. I'm going to try to set a time where we can make something. Yeah, grits are not my favorite, but I do eat them. I am from America. So I eat a lot of different things, and sometimes I'll eat leftovers too. And if I'm in a hurry running out the door, a glass of milk, and that's it. I get nothing to eat except that. Oh, come on. This thing takes like forever. Thank you, Bat. Good morning, Joy. Thank you. I know everybody sits there and says that. They say you're so beautiful for your age. I always tell people you're looking at health. You know? You have to eat and care for yourself. As I learned what was in makeup, and I learned what was in stuff in the food and all, because remember when I grew up we had gardens and stuff. Hey, James, I'm from Texas, too. I was raised there. Wasn't born there, but I was raised there. We're going to brown these up. This is not braising. When you braise, you don't have oil, but we're browning it. And what it does is it sort of seals it up. So when we cook it, the meat won't be flat. A lot of people take a shortcut and they boil meat instead of taking this one step that you need. And I'm retired Robin too. Oh, good, James. You have like a farm. So what you do is when they say brown or braise is different. It just means you're browning the meat. You're sealing some of the juices in, and you're cooking the salt and pepper to get that flavor into the meat with the flour. We'll give it a coating. When you sit there and sear, you have nothing on except salt and pepper and no oil because you don't want to brown it. You want to seal it and lock it in because you cook it very, very fast, and this is how that works. But this is either called browning or searing. I mean, braising. I'm braising. That's the term I know, but I know a lot of Americans just call it browning. But if you miss this stage, you just go stew beef and stuff and you're just boiling meat. If you don't like boiled meat plain, boil some meat plain and eat it and see how flat it is. It doesn't have any flavor. Thank you, James, for subscribing. Okay, I'm going to need a plate to put this on. So when you hear the word braise in a recipe, it means brown. All right, that's another word you have to learn in cooking. You have to learn cooking terminologies. You have to learn ratios and fractions of stuff because sometimes you double up a recipe, sometimes you cut it in half, sometimes you cut it down to a fourth because it's less according to your family structure. And remember also that 3 ounces of meat is 25 grams of protein, be it fish, wild game, fowl. 3 ounces is 25 grams of protein. You only need 70 a day. If you're sick, they like to give you a little more because you have a lot of repair going on in your body. And you notice I didn't coat these twice. No, I just gave them one coat. It's a chuck roast. It smells very nice. Okay, you're not browning on that side yet. And this can take, a while to do. But when you do it, you get such nice flavor. So these little steps that you keep taking out is actually going to give you a problem. Your food isn't going to be as rich as it should be or as nice. Thank you very much, Andrea. So people who are rushing through these meals and now they have chefs, they call them, unless I see that they've got a chef name, I'm not going to listen to them. They're saying that we'll cook your food for you, you pick what you want, and they're trying to sell instant food to get you out of cooking and stuff so they control your health. So If you care about your health, you're going to sit there and you're not going to listen to them. You're going to sit there and get back into the kitchen and do what you want. You know, and I hear some of you women telling me women can do what men can do. No, it's the machinery. Okay, it really is. I mean, they use machines to make make quilts and blankets and stuff. And people tell me this is handmade. No, handmade takes time. I know that because I do a lot of handwork. Okay, so I know women can do some things, but they can't do everything. It's the machinery that's doing it, basically. If you go by hand, it ain't gonna work. Okay, one fold in the other, all right. You can see how it's coming out really nice. I don't know how the red pepper's going to be, but we'll find out in a hurry. Yeah, I remember bonanza as a little girl. My father liked it. We're being from Texas? Of course he would. You know, that's how I could say it. So remember, when you leave these steps out and you're in a hurry, you're going to mess up and not get what you're looking for. Okay, Professor. Hi, Boo. Tamu? Well, good morning from New York. Now, as you do this, you're going to notice the oil's disappearing. We're going to have to add more oil. Good morning from New York. Curtis. Okay, I have a spoon here I was using. Now the meat's not done and it's starting to bleed, but what you want to do is just brown it up. That's all we're doing right now. This is called braising. When I'm done with these, I'm going to add more oil in here because you can see that I need it. Now you're not going to get it braised on all sides, but that's all right. Okay, Curtis, you like cooking. You like watching it. Do you try cooking? Now, you'll see the particles on the bottom sticking here. We will be deglazing that. And these bits that you see down here, we will be actually bringing them up and they won't burn. Just salt. I use black pepper, red pepper, and salt on the meat. And then I added a leftover flour I have. And there is oil, but it's absorbing the oil. And I'm going to have to add more, but there was oil in the pot when I started. need it. Now I have to get this hot, and then we'll move forward on it. Mm-hmm. So see, there is oil here. It's just it cooks and use that oil up. Okay. I hope it is. I'm actually going to add some whole grains to this. I have some smelt grains and maybe brown rice. We're going to add a little bit of that in. And I'm going to be adding some simple vegetables. We're going to be adding stock and wine. We're going to deglaze with wine. That by the time we finish deglazing, the alcohol will be cooked out and we'll only have the flour of the wine. Now it's time to have stew. I mean, it's cold. I don't know if I want to slice some greens up, but I have some greens in the refrigerator, and I could take a couple of leaves towards the end, like the last 10 minutes, chop it up and throw it in as well. You can do that. People don't think about it, but you can. Required? Hi! And good morning. So this takes time. Now, how long am I going to cook this until the meat is tender? So there might be a part 2 on this. Cynthia, good morning. I hope you have a great day. Okay. This is like the longest part, except for the cooking when it has to boil all day. So that's pretty much it. So I think I'm going to have this stew. I told my sons I'm going to have cornbread with this. Even though I'm putting some whole grains in this, we're going to see how it plays out. Pamela, good morning. Okay. By the time I finish this, I'll have to add more in. Thailand, okay. We're having stew today with cornbread, and the stew's going to have some whole grains in it with the root vegetables. I have carrots, I have turnips, I have yams. I might put yams in it, but I have whole kernels, and I'm wondering, I'm thinking about putting maybe a fourth of a cup in also, just to be different, because most people make stews and they're very watery. I want to make mine rich. That's the whole thing. We're going to be adding wines and stock. I have chicken stock, bone broth, and vegetable stock, which will be going with the wine. And I'll probably add more whole peppercorns to this. Be careful with the red ones I put in, which we already did. So that's what we're doing. At least I'm looking forward to it. And I think cornbread would be nice with this. For those of you, wine, a dry red wine would go nice with dinner with this, not a beer. You need actually a dry red wine, and this would be great, okay? How do I know about liquors and I don't drink? Mom said you had to learn. And she said most of the time when you serve a meal, you will always have a wine with it. So I learned the rules with wine. There are rules, and she said some meals like Spanish food, beer goes excellent with. So I'm accustomed to that, okay? That's why. So if we had steak and it was grilled, I know my father would have a beer. Most men will have a beer when they have a grilled steak. The wine was usually with other dishes. Like if you're having fish, my mother would tell me white. If you're having beef or red meat, you sit there and you have a red wine. If you sit there and have veal or lamb, you usually go with a rosé. So I was learning, I had to learn all of that and memorize it. This is the last batch. I'm going to get them all in here. Okay, let me get rid of this. Now, if you're adding some whole grains to your stews, just to make them more nutritious, wait a minute. I don't know, Mr. P. I do not know who that person is. I have no idea. Oh, come on, I don't want to add any more oil because there was already oil still in here. I'm going to have to add oil. I don't want to. You're not supposed to. That's why I'm adding it on the side, just a little, so I know the sides are hot. It'll melt it by the time it gets down there. Now, let's talk about, so I have a question if you've ever tried it. Have you know how you get the dried peelings for Christmas breads and stuff? Have any of you ever thought about putting that into a muffin with almond extract and nuts and see how muffins come out? Have any of you ever tried that? Just asking. Because if you say yes, I'm going to say, how does it come out? Because it's an idea that's floating around in my head. I should have thought about it at Christmas, but I didn't think about it. You know, the mixed peels that I'm talking about. the browning right. Come on, guys, I asked you a question. Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever had it? You know? And would orange juice be good instead of using milk in it? Replacing it with orange juice with the mixed peel? Instead of using potato chips and stuff, I use muffins. Yeah, Joy, have you ever thought of that? We call them mixed peels, but if you want to call them candied peels, yeah, we did that. And we added nuts with it. I would roast whatever nuts we're going to use with it. And use orange juice maybe in place of milk so you get more of the fruit flavor. Have you ever tried making muffins like that? Yeah, I think I'm going to try it, Joy, sometime next week. I'm going to try making those muffins and just see what we come up with. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you guys, we'll throw the idea out, okay? But it's just an idea that popped through my head, and I said, you know, I don't think anybody's ever tried that before. And, you know, everybody loves that Christmas bread with the nuts and stuff. I think I would roast almonds, you know, because they usually put almond slivers in. Well, we couldn't use almond sliced almond because that would be too thin in the muffin. So I might have to try slivered almonds because it doesn't have the skin on it, and chop it up after we roast it a bit. I'm thinking in that direction. If I don't use orange juice, I don't know what I would use for the liquid. I just don't want it to be blasé. I want it, you know, to be good for us as well. You see, this is what women do. We get together and we start sharing things like this. And it helps all of us. All you have to do is, you know, if you come up with an idea, ask somebody, what do you think of this? Hey, I don't know. Let's try it. Buffalo meat is very good. Yeah, I'm gonna try it. We're having beef stew today with cornbread. And I have to remember my oven is a little off, so I'm going to have to cook mine longer than what the recipe says. And it's my favorite. It's the only cornbread I really, really like. My husband loved corn muffins, and I said, really? He said, yes. That's something I haven't made. I've got to get back and make it. Okay. Normally, I would not take all these pieces out, but for you people who don't know how to cook, I'm going to take these pieces out and then we're going to dump them back in. India, I say good morning because it's morning here. My husband was. He's deceased now. Okay. Now this is for people who don't know how to make stews. You see that on the bottom? We are going to deglaze it, okay? Okay, we're deglazing. Okay, I need a spoon. I'll use this one with the oil. You stir this around, and it's cooking the alcohol out of it, okay? I normally leave the meat in and do this, but I did this for people who don't know what I'm talking about. but this is deglazing. We're actually cooking the bits up. And then you put all this meat back in here and we'll get other stuff going. If there's any blood or anything in the plate, pour it back in. Now I'm going to go stock crazy here, okay? Here's chicken stock. I don't use water. I use all of this. Putting in 2 cups of bone broth. And this is not bone broth that you buy in the store. And here's some vegetable stock. We're going to turn this up on high because this is going to be cooking. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. Let's finish it up. We're going to bring this to a boil. Most recipes will tell you use so much wine and so much stock. We're cooking beef stew. So I haven't decided if I want to put smelt in this, whole kernel, or do I want to use bulgur or brown rice. That will cover for whatever nutrients that would be missing. I think I said good morning to you, Artie, already, but if I didn't, I'm sorry. Say hi. Jason, like I told you, we're cooking stew. Okay, we gotta bring this to a boil. When this comes to a boil, we're gonna turn this down and let this simmer. Sod, I am making a beef stew today with cornbread. Right now, we've already braised the beef. We've already seasoned it with salt and pepper, and we floured it. We've done all of that, and now we just poured a lot. I'm not using water. I'll use stock and stuff for more flavor that I'm looking for. It'll be richer. That depends. I'm going to cook it till it's almost done, and then I'm going to sit there and add my vegetables into it. I'm using root vegetables. If I'm using a green, I'll add it in later, a little bit towards the end because it cooks faster. You have to set everything according to their cooking. And another thing is that I'm going to be using, I really think I want to use smelt in it. No, sorry. I'm not going to put smelt in. I am going to use, I think I want to add red winter wheat, better known as red flour grains. So I think I'm going to use 1/4 of a cup of them. I'll show you. This is what winter wheat looks like before they grind it up. Here it is, right here. I'm going to take 1/4 of a cup and it's going to go in here. Most stews that I know of take about an hour, hour and a half for the meat. I'm from New York. So maybe, Joseph, we're talking about an hour, hour and a half. But in between that time, I'm going to be checking the meat. And I'm also going to be adding things to it. Yes, I have the grinder right back there. There's my grinder right here. I do grind flour. Not all of it, but a lot of it I do when I'm making certain things and I can find what I need. I live in one of the 5 boroughs of the metropolitan area. Actually on the outskirts, believe it or not. So I have a wildlife sanctuary by me. I have, if I wanted to get into the metropolitan area, it takes me hours. Hi, Faith. Faith. Hello, you're from Long Island? Hey, okay. The godmother of our children used to be in Long Island. Yes, I'm going to be making some. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can find what I bought. I am going to try to make, I'm going to use dried cranberries, but the chili lime flavor in scones. And this is what I'm going to put in them instead of currants. So I think that's interesting. We're going to see what the flavor comes out. Yes, scones are, but most people in America will put chopped raisins, but if you can ask your grocery store to get you currants, they have better flavor, believe it or not. It's slightly different than raisins, but I want to try these in scones. We've already had these in the muffins, and they didn't even last, so I'm going to try with this. Hello, yes, we're getting ready to do that. While I cook, I'm explaining terminologies and why I do certain things, how to hold knives and stuff. So I'm going to be doing Come Cook With Me. You'll see that popping up. I will be letting people know what time, and I will tell you in the area I am, set your clocks accordingly. I will tell you what you need, and we will talk about why we do what we do to get the best effects of what we're looking for. Okay? So you'll learn to use equipment properly. You'll also learn terminologies and everything. Stew and cornbread. Oh, you can smell the heat on that. Yeah, the red peppercorns are going to give you some heat. I'm going to be turning this down because this has got to cook till tender. I'm going to put these in, but I have to rinse them first. So this is going to be winter wheat, and I'm only adding 1/4 of a cup. This will cover for the B vitamins and stuff. If you don't have the vegetables and have all the minerals and stuff you need, throwing that little bit in will actually help you. So there will be teaching. It's going to be called, I'm going to call it Come Cook With Me, and I'll definitely set all that up. You'll know the equipment you need, the ingredients that you'll need, and we can move forward from that. I'll probably do a video and a short live and tell you everything that you need. And I'll set my time. You'll have to set it according to your time because I'm on the East Coast, so I'm going to be using America's East Coast time. You'll have to set yours accordingly. And one woman wanted to know what's the difference from scones and biscuits. It's the ratio that you use. And one in Australia, very nice lady, she wants to learn to make biscuits, but they don't have biscuit recipes there. This is where we change and share our cultures, where we learn. This is why America is so versatile. From the American Indians and everything we brought from Europe, we have all this a mixture in our culture of cooking, whereas if you're in one country, you're missing some things that we use. So this way you'll be able to make them and know what it's like to have. Yeah. Hi, Scribbly. Okay. Okay. This is not political. We're not going there. Please do not. Biscuits are fluffy. I even make sourdough cultured biscuits. We have to make those the night before. My sons love them. So I will be doing that. I'll probably, the first one will be biscuits. So people can learn the ratios of biscuits and then understand how they work. But we'll be making different things together. But I'll always give you 1 week to get everything together that you need. Because I'm not going to attack you that day and say, get this, this, and this. That doesn't make sense. You can't do that at the last minute. You need time to get things together. Okay, now that's come to a boil. We're going to see. No, there's not going to be any gravy. This is a stew. Okay, it's boiling. And we're just going to let it sit here for about an hour to an hour and a half. By the time I start doing the vegetables, I will be back. Your starter? You have a sourdough starter, Joy? Oh, I'm going to have to do those biscuits so you can see how to make sourdough. They are not made the same way that you make regular biscuits. Keep your sourdough culture going. And I'm sure within a week's time, I will be showing you how to make those. And it takes, you got to start them at night. And you have to do and set them up a certain way so they'll be ready in the morning. Now what you have to do is turn the oven on, pop them in. Well, Claire, I cannot do that. All right. Herbs are best fresh, but I can't always do that. So I do what I can. Like I tell you, I do the best I can with what I have to make my food as nutritious as possible. That's what this is all about. Making food more nutritious. Okay. So I will do the best I can. So if you can get all your seasonings fresh, you can get fresh nutmeg, you can get fresh cinnamon, you can sit there and get fresh cilantro, you can get fresh thyme, and other seasonings like that, and oregano, and all the other seasonings there. By all means, you're better than I am, but I can't. So I have a pantry of about 100. I think I've got every seasoning there is. Oh. Tom is being stupid. Okay. So listen, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to check it in an hour. Just look and you'll see me. Yeah, that's right, random. That's where they use it. And they also have an awful lot of people who pick the food up that they tell them what they want, and what they don't use for that one cooking part ends up in the trash. So that's wasting a lot of money as well. So listen, all of you take care for now, and I will be back in about an hour, hour and a half as soon as that meat cooks, and we'll start getting those vegetables together. And remember, I did put in 1/4 cup of winter wheat grain. All right? You will. Just look for me again, because it will be a live that I will be doing again, so you'll be able to see it, and we'll just do part 2 of the stew and get it together, and then I will be putting the cornbread on. All right, so take care for now. Bye-bye.